Chosen one, your love story has been held back for too long by things you have not yet been able to name. And the fact that you have paused before these words today is not meaningless. I know there have been times when you wondered why your heart always seemed to travel along winding roads, why the sincerity you offered was so often met with silence, unfinished promises, or relationships that gave you hope, only to leave you gathering the broken pieces alone. You once thought that perhaps you expected too much, loved too deeply, or waited for something that did not exist. Yet I want you to become still and understand that your desire to be loved rightly is not a flaw that must be hidden. It is a sign that you were not created to live within shallow connections, where beautiful words are more abundant than genuine presence, where emotions arrive quickly but responsibility disappears when difficulty begins. I have seen this longing since the days when you did not yet know how to express it. At times, it was only a gentle desire to sit beside someone without having to strain to be understood. At other times, it became a heaviness in your chest as you watched others find a home within love while you remained before many doors, uncertain which one was truly meant for you. You carried this expectation into long nights, into moments when you awakened amid silence and wondered whether someone was being prepared to come beside you with an honest heart. I know the name of this longing. It is not merely the desire to have someone near you, but the longing to build with someone a love of depth, respect, faithfulness, and enough peace that neither of you must continually live in fear. The question you have kept hidden for so long is not unfamiliar to me. You have looked at someone and wondered whether they were the person prepared for you, or simply someone who appeared at a vulnerable time and made it easy for you to place your hope in them. You have questioned whether the emotion rising within you was true recognition or merely loneliness wearing a comforting form. You feared that if you trusted too quickly, you would once again give your whole heart to someone suited only for a brief season. Yet if you remained distant for too long, you worried that you might miss something beautiful. This inner struggle exhausted you many times because you wanted to love sincerely, while also protecting yourself from repeating former sorrow. I want you to understand that the right kind of love will not require you to lose discernment in order to keep it. It will not force you continually to interpret contradictory signals, nor will it make you live in suspense, wondering whether you will be cared for today or forgotten. The right person may not be perfect, but they will bring consistency. They will not be gentle only when everything is easy, but will preserve respect when disagreement appears. They will not love you with great promises and then disappear before small responsibilities. Their presence will not leave you confused about your worth. Instead, they will make you feel that you can be truthful without performing the role of someone more agreeable, quieter, or less needy merely to remain in their heart. Do not confuse emotional stirring with confirmation. Some people may cause your heart to beat quickly while keeping your mind in constant unrest. Certain encounters may feel intensely powerful, but intensity is not the same as depth. Enduring love is not built upon attraction alone. It is recognized through the way two people face truth together, take responsibility for their words, and treat one another after there is nothing left to prove. The person meant for you will not love only the radiant version of you. They will know how to sit beside you when you are tired. Listen without rushing to repair you. Respect your need for space and refuse to use your weaknesses as weapons during moments of anger. I know you once gave opportunities to people who created a feeling of closeness simply because they appeared when you were vulnerable. You saw a few similarities and persuaded yourself that they were signs of harmony. You heard beautiful promises and hoped that time would turn them into the person you needed. Yet love cannot be built upon the potential of someone who has no desire to grow into it. You cannot love on their behalf, nor can endless patience transform irresponsibility into faithfulness. If a relationship survives only because you continually yield, explain, forgive, and diminish your needs, then it is not companionship. It is depletion given a more comforting name. Therefore, your season of waiting is not proof that you have been forgotten. Often, delay is a form of protection. Had the right person arrived, while you still believed that endurance was evidence of love, you might not have recognized them. Had they appeared while you were still deeply afraid of loneliness, you might have chosen anyone who made you feel needed. I used time to teach you that your worth does not increase when someone chooses you and does not decrease when someone leaves. You are learning to become a place of peace for yourself, so that when love arrives, you do not enter with begging hands, but with a full heart ready both to give and to receive. A love story guided by me will make both people more truthful, not smaller. It will teach you patience without resignation, forgiveness without tolerance of harm, and gentleness that still preserves boundaries. Such love will not require you to abandon your voice, dreams, or the good things planted within you merely to keep the other person feeling secure. Someone who truly loves you will not compete with your light. They will not fear your growth or try to make you doubt yourself so that you become easier to control. They will rejoice when you advance, support you in seasons of weakness, and possess enough humility to receive support from you when they need it. Observe what a connection produces within you. If it makes you increasingly anxious, constantly checking, guessing, comparing, and fearing replacement, you need to slow down. If it causes you to neglect your health, work, loved ones, and dignity merely to keep someone near, step back and look more clearly. Yet, if a relationship helps you become more peaceful, honest, responsible, and capable of loving yourself properly, that is something worthy of attention. The right love does not separate you from life. It helps you become more deeply present within it. It does not make you lose direction, but helps you see your path with greater clarity. I am not giving you a list through which to examine each person as though love were a cold equation. I only want you to recognize the fruit of someone's presence. Observe how they treat people who cannot benefit them. Notice how they respond when they are refused, when they make a mistake, or when you establish a boundary. Listen not only to what they say while trying to win your affection, but also to how they behave after they know you care. The right person will not take your trust for granted. They will understand that being welcomed into your world is a privilege that must be preserved through honesty, consistency, and daily respect. My beloved child, do not rush because you are afraid of time passing. What is enduring does not need to be built in panic. You are not late, nor have you been left behind. Your journey has its own rhythm, and every lesson you have endured is making your eyes clearer before false appearances. Allow the past to teach you without permitting it to rule you. Do not enter a new relationship carrying punishments prepared for mistakes committed by someone from your past. A new person must be viewed fairly, but they must also prove their trustworthiness through time. Openness and caution can coexist when you have matured. I, Michael, remind you that the love prepared for you will not ask you to betray yourself in order to receive it. You will not need continually to diminish your light, hide your sensitivity, or apologize, because your heart requires clarity. The right person will recognize your depth, not as a burden, but as a gift. They will not merely want to be loved by you. They will learn to love you through actions that make you feel safe, respected, and heard. Until that person appears, continue building your life in peace, caring for what has been entrusted to you, and refusing to give your future to anyone merely because they make one moment feel beautiful. You were not created to live on broken fragments of affection. Neither do you need to chase someone simply because you fear there will be no other opportunity. What belongs to you will not demand that you compete, manipulate, or beg to be seen. When the right love arrives, it will still require care, conversation, and growth. But it will not leave you continually wondering whether you are loved. You will recognize it, not only because your heart is moved, but because peace, consistency, and the ability to become better together are present. Keep these words within you. Your waiting has not been useless. Your longing is not shameful. And what I am preparing will not arrive merely to fill an emptiness with illusion, but to build with you a life that is truthful, stable, and filled with love. My child, most people, when they see another person's need while carrying many burdens of their own, stop at compassion without taking the next step into action. They may recognize the difficulty before them, genuinely feel sorrow, and even desire for a moment to extend a hand, but then calculating voices begin to speak. They remind themselves that they are also lacking, that the timing is not right, that perhaps someone else will help, or that they must preserve everything they possess because their own future remains uncertain. These reasons sound so logical that the goodness that had just awakened is persuaded to return to silence. The beautiful intention remains, but it never reaches the life of the person who needed support. I see every such moment. I see a hand that wished to extend itself but then closed. I see a word of encouragement rise within someone but never become spoken. I see a person walk past another's pain, slow down for a few seconds, and then continue because personal worry became stronger than compassion. This does not happen only among cold-hearted people. It also happens among those who are genuinely kind, who still believe themselves to be generous and sincerely desire to do good. They do not lack compassion. What they lack is the courage to allow compassion to cross the boundary of feeling and become a specific action. You need to understand that goodness existing only within thought has not yet completed its purpose. A lamp may be filled with oil, but if it is never lit, the room remains dark. Water may exist beneath a layer of stone, but if it never finds a way to flow outward, the dry ground remains without refreshment. In the same way, even the most sincere intention cannot lighten anyone's burden unless it becomes a word, a gesture, or a timely presence. I do not deny the value of good intentions, but I want you to recognize that compassion reaches maturity when it dares to move, even while the one giving does not feel abundant. For this reason, what I saw within you carried a different meaning. When a need appeared, you did not remain long in the position of an observer. Something within you responded, before calculation could build its wall. You acted not because you possessed too much, but because you recognized that the person before you had too little. You stepped forward, not because every problem in your own life had been resolved, but because you refused to allow personal difficulty to make you indifferent. You did not measure what the act might return to you, examine who was watching, or wait for assurance that your kindness would be acknowledged. I know you have also worried. I know. There were days when you were uncertain about tomorrow, shortages you did not know how to resolve, and weariness you shared with no one. You are not someone who has never felt afraid. What makes your choice precious is that you still chose to give, while fear had enough reason to restrain you. You did not wait until you felt completely safe before becoming a place of safety for someone else. You did not wait until every emptiness in your own life had been filled before sharing the small portion you possessed. Such generosity is not born from outward abundance. It comes from a deeper source where you understand that the value of giving is not found in quantity, but in sincerity and timing. What you did may have appeared very small in the eyes of the world. It may have been only a meal, a telephone call, a word of encouragement, financial help that required careful consideration, or a few minutes offered to someone who did not know how to continue. Yet, you do not know how deeply that action touched them. Something simple to you may have become the sign that helped another person believe they had not been forgotten. A few words spoken in seconds may become something they remember for years. Your calm presence may have prevented someone from making a decision while overwhelmed by despair. I do not measure kindness by the noise it creates before a crowd. I look at the burden it quietly removes from another person's shoulders. When you acted without seeking recognition, a mark was formed. This was not because I wanted to place you above anyone else, but because your choice showed that your heart had passed through a hidden test. That test did not occur upon a stage, with an audience, or with an immediate reward. There was only you, another person's need, and the inner voice, asking whether you would step forward or turn away. You stepped forward. It is within such decisions, witnessed by no one, that a person's true character is revealed more clearly than through every public declaration. Many people can act generously when they know their name will be mentioned. Many are willing to help when someone will acknowledge their sacrifice. Yet when there is no gratitude, no repayment, and no evidence that goodness will return to them, enthusiasm often grows cold. You did what was right, even without knowing whether the one receiving would understand its value. You did not turn your help into a debt. You did not keep an inner account recording who received what and when repayment was due. This is rare because people often find it easy to give with their hands, but difficult to release expectation within the heart. However, I must also teach you that generosity does not mean giving until you become depleted. I do not call you to become an endless source for people who refuse responsibility for their own lives. Wise kindness knows when to give, when to stop, and when genuine help takes the form of a clear boundary. Some people need a hand to help them stand, while others merely wish to lean upon you so that they never have to learn how to walk. You do not need to prove compassion by continually rescuing those who refuse to change. What I honor within you is not unlimited sacrifice, but your willingness to answer genuine need with a pure heart. Therefore, continue allowing discernment to walk beside compassion. When you see someone in pain, ask what will truly help them, not merely what will make you feel useful. Sometimes you may need to offer a specific resource. At other times, you may only need to listen. There are also moments when the most loving thing is refusing to carry consequences another person needs to face in order to mature. Compassion is not always gentle in the way people expect. It may be tender like a word of comfort, but it may also be firm like a door closed against exploitation. I want you to know that the response of the spiritual realm is not praise intended to make you proud. It is an affirmation that what you did was aligned with the noble nature I placed within you. When goodness crosses beyond fear and becomes action, something within the unseen order is awakened. It is like a bell announcing that in a world often devoted to protecting self-interest, someone is still willing to do what is right without needing to be seen. That bell does not summon others to worship you. It confirms that light is still finding a way through a heart, willing to obey what is good. This is not because you have never been selfish, nor because you always make perfect decisions. You remain someone who is learning, who sometimes becomes tired, hesitates, and needs to withdraw in order to recover. Yet there is a current within you that difficulty has not easily dried up. After everything you have endured, you still possess the ability to feel another person's pain. After being treated unfairly, you still refuse to become someone who thinks only of yourself. After many people received from you without gratitude, you did not permit them to steal the finest quality within you. This is what is rare. True generosity is measured not only by what leaves your hands, but also by what you refuse to allow circumstances to take from your heart. You did not permit lack to make you bitter. You did not allow betrayal to make you cold. You did not allow exploitation to destroy your trust in everyone. You learned to become wiser without closing yourself, and to protect yourself without denying compassion. This balance was refined through many tears, and I know the price you paid to possess it. Therefore, when you feel a pure prompting to do something good, do not allow hundreds of explanations to make you miss the moment. You cannot do everything, save everyone, or answer every call. Yet, when peace confirms that something has been placed before you as your responsibility, act with what you possess. Do not despise a small gesture. Do not assume that only great actions have value. Sometimes an entire dark day is changed simply because someone remembers, asks how another person is doing, or treats them as though their life is still worthy of care. My child, what was proclaimed was not your name or your achievement, but the quality of a heart that did not turn away when it could have done so. Your choice was recognized because you made it while carrying burdens of your own, yet still found room to lift part of another person's weight. Remain humble concerning this. Do not allow the awareness that you are kind to become a belief that you are superior. Let it remind you that each day gives you another opportunity to live according to what I placed within you. I do not need the whole world to praise you. I need only for you to keep this spring clean, unpolluted by pride, and not exhausted by those who exploit it. Give with wisdom, receive with gratitude, and rest when you need to rest. What is precious within you is not how much you have given, but that in a world full of reasons to turn away, you still chose to remain present. That quiet choice proves that compassion has not disappeared, and that light can still pass through an ordinary person to reach another life at the exact moment it is needed. Listen with the deepest part of yourself, because what I am about to show you cannot be fully understood through mental analysis alone. Throughout many years, you have heard countless pieces of advice about whom you should choose, which qualities you should seek, and what signs you should examine before opening your heart. Such things may be helpful, but they are only small lamps shining upon the surface. There is an understanding older than every list, deeper than every standard, and more truthful than the patterns the world has placed before you. I am not asking you to abandon wisdom or follow emotion blindly. I am teaching you to recognize a kind of knowing that appears before you can name it. A peace that does not seek attention, yet carries enough strength to quiet the noise within you. Place your hand over your chest for a moment, not as an obligatory ritual, but as an invitation to return to yourself. Breathe slowly and become aware of what is taking place within the hidden region no one else can see. Perhaps you will feel nothing dramatic. There may be no powerful sensation, no clear voice, and no overwhelming sign. Yet, if you remain still long enough, you may recognize a very gentle movement, like a memory awakening that does not belong to the past. It is not entirely emotion, because emotions can change quickly according to circumstances. It resembles recognition, like hearing a melody you have never learned yet, somehow knowing how the next phrase should be sung. What I am describing is not new information being placed inside you from the outside. It is a name for something engraved deeply within you long ago, but covered by disappointment, fear, and experiences that caused you to lose trust in your own ability to recognize. You have sensed something and immediately dismissed it because logic could not yet find evidence. You once recognized peace within someone, yet became suspicious because the connection lacked the drama of relationships you had known before. You were also drawn into intensity and called it a spiritual sign, only to realize later that you had confused noise with depth. Therefore, I am helping you distinguish temporary excitement from genuine recognition. The first sign of a healthy connection does not necessarily appear as constant thoughts about that person, or an impatient desire to know where the future is going. Deep recognition often arrives more humbly. Before you understand their history, small habits, former wounds, or responses under pressure, something within you becomes quiet. This is not the emptiness of losing emotion, but the stilling of a search that has continued for too long. You no longer feel that you must run quickly to possess the connection, nor do you need to interpret every word to know where you stand. Their presence does not push you into confusion. It creates space for you to return to your true self. Excitement usually carries noise. It urges you to check your telephone continually, imagine dozens of possibilities, and place your entire future upon a few beautiful moments. It makes you want to move ahead of time, know the answer immediately, and fear that the good thing will disappear unless you hold it tightly. Sacred peace does not operate this way. It does not push you. It does not demand an immediate reaction. It is like a gentle current, carrying you back to shore after years of struggling against large waves. When something genuine draws near, you may still feel joy, emotion, and expectation. But beneath all of these rests a stable foundation where you do not need to exchange clarity in order to preserve the connection. Remember moments in your life when you felt less emotion, but saw more clearly. Perhaps it was an ordinary conversation, without great promises or impressive gestures, yet afterward you realized you no longer needed to remain defensive. Perhaps you sat beside someone without feeling compelled to fill every silence, because the stillness did not make you anxious. Perhaps for the first time, you felt you did not need to become more interesting, stronger, or more perfect in order to be respected. This does not feel like being swept away. It feels like returning to a place you have never visited, and yet somehow know you can rest. However, do not hastily treat every initial feeling of peace as final confirmation. Recognition is a seed, and time will reveal whether it truly takes root. What has been prepared for you will not fear the light of observation. Consistency, responsibility, honesty, and the way a person respects your boundaries will confirm what you sensed at the beginning. If something within says that a person is safe, while their actions continually harm you, you must believe the truth being revealed. I do not teach you to use intuition to deny reality. I teach you to allow perception and truth to lead together. Consider the woman who entered a field in faithfulness, without knowing that her ordinary decision was leading her toward an encounter that could change her entire future. She did not search for a man to fill an emptiness. She did not create a strategy to attract attention. She simply did what was right before her, remained loyal to a loved one, and completed the work of that day with humility. Within this faithfulness that appeared unrelated to romance, she entered the place prepared for her. This teaches you that an important meeting does not always occur while you are trying to find it. Often it arrives while you are living faithfully, according to what I have already placed into your hands. She bent down to gather what remained in the field, unaware that each ordinary step was leading her into a greater arrangement. The man who would walk beside her was not drawn only to her outward appearance. He noticed her faithfulness, dignity, and the way she treated the person who had shared loss with her. His attention did not begin with a desire to possess, but with respect. He did not pressure her, exploit her vulnerable circumstances, or turn his help into an emotional debt. This is one of the signs you must remember. The person prepared to walk beside you will not merely feel attracted to you. They will recognize your value and treat that value responsibly. When two people are guided toward one another, recognition does not necessarily occur at the same moment or in the same way. Perhaps the other person notices you before you understand what is happening. They may recognize qualities within you that feel so familiar to you that you no longer regard them as special. Yet if the connection is truly healthy, their interest will not become a game that leaves you confused. They will not keep you in uncertainty merely to feed their ego. They will approach with clarity, respect, and patience. What is sincere does not need manipulation in order to create attachment, because it is not afraid of an awakened heart.